Well, hi, everyone. We have the Wall of Weird podcast back on with Superman and Lois that finally came back from hiatus. We're on season 2, episode 1. It's just Lisa and I tonight. So I am new to doing production, so bear with me tonight. And thank you for everyone who's joining us live. So we'll start off by a recap of what's important for this episode anyway. We had in Superman and Lois season 1, we had John Henry Irons that came from another universe in the multiverse. And in his world, Superman was bad, killed his version of Lois, who was his wife. And then he came on to this world and he helped fight Morgan Edge. And they became friends. And then his daughter ended up coming through at the end and showed up. And his daughter, of course, his daughter's mother was Lois. So that's what's important for this episode. And then we have Jordan and Sara getting together at the end of season 1 as well. Is there anything else, Lisa, that you want to add?
No, there's a lot of stuff to come through on season 2 that we had in season 1, particularly to do with Lois's miscarriage to do with Natalie, and she still hasn't come to terms with that. So we've got to see what happens. She knows that Natalie in another world is her daughter, but it's not her daughter, and she never had that daughter. So there's so much stuff probably going on in Lois's mind that is she going to be able to handle it? But she's a strong woman, and I think she can, and she's got a good family behind her. Yeah.
Let's do our intro now. And we're back. So we're going to start with the season 2, episode 1. I've got some slides here to help us talk through it. So we'll start with this one. So Lois is not in a very good mood coming back from season 1. There was a small scene in the beginning where Natalie says, "Hey, Mom," to Lois, and Clark says, "Hey, go talk to her." And Lois is just kind of like deer in the headlights. I don't know what to do. And then Lois is dealing with those feelings at the beginning of this episode, and she's just not being nice to anyone in the family. Particularly Clark, but really, I think everyone gets snipped, and including at the newspaper, they're trying to hire someone new, and she's just not very nice to them.
Well, we haven't yet seen it, but further down the line, it's going to come out about Lois's mum and how she treated Lois and Lucy. So that's going to have a big impact on Lois about how she, treats Natalie. But there's other things going on. It's like Jonathan, the poor lad, he's not being picked up with the football team. Lana's all going for the new mayor because she wants to get rid of the old mayor for what he did with Kyle and all the Morgan Edge stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I think we got some slides coming up for all that here. So this is kind of here's the next slide we got.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So here we see that Jonathan has a girlfriend, which I didn't look like it was the same girl that was at the end of season 1.
It's definitely not, because like we all thought it was going to be Tegan. There was a whole thing where Tegan wants to know about, what happened in Smallville, and then this new girl turns up. It's Candice, and he's like, it's John's new girlfriend, and he's like, hey,
Yes. So he's upset that he didn't get to throw balls yet. It looks like he is the quarterback, but he's just doing running plays.
Yeah.
And so Clark's like, it's okay. He's just easing you in. It'll be all right. And Jonathan doesn't want anything to have it. And then, the Candace comes in. It's okay. And so basically says the same thing Clark says. And, and Jonathan's like, oh, you're right. And Clark's just like, this is typical, And then Clark gets called off, and Jonathan really takes her to his bedroom. And
yeah, what I love about this scene is like she's going, oh yeah, how far is it to Ben Hubbard's farm? Oh yeah, have we got time to sort of like go to the bedroom? And then Clark just goes shooting off somewhere.
Completely oblivious, like not, his mind's in a whole nother world, to be honest.
And then Lois comes back, and Lois is in the sort of like, something's going on.
I know, right? So she walks in there and it's like, what is going on here?
You're 15. What are you getting up to?
Yeah, I mean, he's young and but he was feeling pretty good about it. Not so good about Mom Pop coming in. That was not good for him.
Yeah, I mean we've seen Clark Kent in Smallville a few times with his shirts off, but this one was sort of like, whoa.
No, this one was definitely like not good. And
not doing what
he's definitely not Clark Kent from Smallville, because I think that he would have been a little bit more. He was all in. He was all in. Mm-hmm. So this was interesting. He goes to save this sub. That's what he was doing while his son was having fun in the bedroom. He goes to save the sub, and it's like something happens to him. He gets this headache, and you get all this imagery that I showed there, and he falls out of the sky instead of being able to do anything. And then the sub's about to blow up, and he lifts it up and he places it down, and it's clear that it's a Korean sub, and he gets called back. Gets reprimanded by the new general, which is what I was saying.
No, he's a lieutenant. Lieutenant Mitch Anderson. Yeah, he's not general.
I knew that it was a bad idea for Sam Lane to leave, because they had a certain kind of relationship, and they want him to be basically a soldier for the U.S. Army. And I think that's a dangerous thing, as even for the U.S. Army to have him look like, you don't want him to be an ally to one country, because then the other countries are going to freak out, and they could start a nuclear war because of something like that. That's dangerous to have someone with that much power on your team, to be honest.
Yeah, and he's only a lieutenant, but he ended up being there because he is a big fanboy of Superman as well. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, he was going on about, oh, I know all about you, so that's why I want to be sort of like with you. But he also wants to be in charge of him, because he knows you're based out of America. You've got to look after American intentions. Yeah. Whereas, Clark's going on, I'm not looking after America. I'll look after everyone.
Yeah, like I'm not getting involved in the politics, right? Mm-hmm. He's not going to be a soldier fighting in the war,
it's like geopolitics, don't get in the way.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Plus, if anyone's watched Teen Wolf, you'll recognize the actor Lieutenant Mitch Anderson, because he's on Teen Wolf with Tyler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So next up we got Lois uses the ELT to
This is
call
so
Clark
bad.
back because she's mad with Jonathan, and it's like, no, I am totally on Clark's side of
This is
this
so
argument.
abuse of power. It's like,
It is.
Clark, get
like,
home. He's like,
get home now. You know,
Yeah.
take care of our son. And it's like, this is
It's
not
like,
an emergency.
I'm sorry, our sons are doing what a lot of teenage sons get up to. You should be out there saving the world. Why should you have to get home because your son's just been a teenage son?
Yes, I think this can wait till later, till I get home. You know?
Yeah.
And then she blows up at him about it on top of it. No, Lois, you're not looking good here. And then here on the other side, we got the campaign. So Lana is running a campaign. I'm not sure that I feel very good about this candidate. She's definitely good at promoting him, but he's definitely, I don't know. I have my doubts.
She was just so off at the previous, mayor that she's after this guy Daniel Hart, yeah, and she's really after him, and you can really see the jealousy, of Kyle between this, yeah.
Yes, I mean, the jealousy, and I don't know. I was thinking I had kind of the same expression that Kyle did when the head coach was, what are you going to do for schools? And he's like,
we'll give you a raise. Yeah.
And then Lana jumps in and is like, oh, we'll give you a raise schools first. And Kyle's just like, oh, is this guy really believe this, or is Lana just saying this? And then the coach is like, oh, all right, that's great. Like, that's how easy you believe a politician.
Yeah, but if you come to think of it, it was Lana who said it, who sort of like did his manifesto. It wasn't the forthcoming mayor who says we'll do this. Lana kind of stepped in and sort of like took over.
Mm-hmm.
So, which kind of makes you think, well, is this mayor any good when you've got someone else pitching for you?
So Clark came to this event, and he ends up talking to both Kyle and Lana separately about, his situation. They're both surprised, like, wait a minute, there's trouble in paradise?
Mm-hmm.
Does that actually happen? Their relationships were more even, and they had some nice conversation between that great chemistry, I thought, between Clark and Lana. They were really,
like sleeping dogs lie.
quite friendly between each other. I did pick up on that.
And all these women are creatures of mystery, and
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the boys are talking. I loved Kyle in this episode. Just in every scene, he was great. But yeah, that was fun, and then they were able to, resolve their issues with each other, which was really nice. And I love the little scene between Kyle and Lana when they start to, get close. And then their daughter walks in and ruins it, which kind of mirrored what happened with Jonathan, but, different situations. And you can just, as being a married couple with kids, I totally related to that.
Did we miss out the bit where Natalie and John
we're gonna get there? Yep,
yeah.
We'll get there. Yeah. So here we had, this was the other main story we had going on here between Jordan and Sara. So Sara comes back from camp, and I don't know. My husband got this feeling, and I did a little bit too. Did she hook up with someone at camp?
Yeah.
Okay, because she said everything was better, and she was just so disinterested in Jordan. She really
Yeah.
didn't
And then
want to see him at all.
there's a CW rumors, as in like when she hooked up at camp. Was it with a boy or was it with a girl? You know. I
Oh,
just hope she wasn't
yeah.
unfaithful and just something else happened that, you know, she had to think, oh, boys are something else, and something else happened, you know. I just don't
I didn't even
want it
think
to
about
be,
the
I
whole.
just don't want it to be whole about she's hooking up with someone else. It's bad, you know. It should be, oh, maybe she's discovered that, well, she's in Smallville and maybe she's got a power, you know. That would be so much cool than having the teen drama of her hooking up with someone else.
Something happened because she went from "Oh, I love you" to "Oh, he's coming to the door. Why is he here right now?" And then he puts together this romantic date, and she's like, "I don't feel good." Then I was like, "Oh wait, I hope she's just doing I don't feel good because she wants to get out of the date, not because they're gonna play a pregnancy storyline," which is another thing that could
Well,
happen.
no, not we've been in camp for 3 months. That's a bit too early. But I'm thinking, you know, she's in proximity to you know, K Kryptonite. She's been in Smallville all her life. Maybe she's just, I don't know.
I don't know because I'm just saying they talked about kind of the pregnancy thing with Jonathan hooking up too. I I don't think it's that far out that could happen.
No, I think he's a bit too young and bad,
But
you know. I'm just
yeah, but
hoping.
they had Jonathan hooking up.
Yeah, I'm just hoping she's got some, you know, she's a metahuman rather than being dirty on
That would be
Jonathan.
interesting if that. I didn't really get that feeling that she was a metahuman though, but it just seemed like she was disinterested in Jordan. Where I feel like if she was a metahuman, she would be kind of
Mm.
like not because she said everything was better at camp, and I don't know. You think it was an all girls camp? Because that would be interesting. Because then that would go into your line of like, oh, maybe she's having feelings for girls now, which could be totally something that happens at 2022 CW. Um, we'll see. That's interesting. And then I love the talk that Kyle and had with her though. That was such a great moment. Uh, Kyle is just being a stand up father and husband in this episode. Yeah, he was a little jealous, but it was, you know, not over the top.
Kyle has come so far in this, you know, since well, he was a douchebag, a drunken douchebag, you know, but he's evolved now, and he became a victim of Morgan
It,
Edge, you know,
it's
and
almost a little too easy for me, though, him getting over his alcoholism that quickly, because that's just not reality. Sadly, it's usually an ongoing battle. So I really hope that they bring it back up um,
mm,
as to see him struggle through it again, or at least be tempted, you know. But I thought that he also kind of seen through BS a little bit with the mayor. So maybe he learned his lesson from the last one. I don't know.
yeah, but
I'm not sure.
he did step up in this episode. He was loving to
Yeah.
Lana, and you know, he had the connection with Sarah, and also the big talk with you know, Clark as well.
Yes, it was great. I thought Kyle was awesome.
It was definitely moving on. Mm.
So the next slide we have
Mm.
talk. So first we have a scene with the boys where he's going where Jonathan's all like, we might get talking to my dad tonight, and Jordan's like, why? You know, boy, he was somewhat proud of himself, but also like that. I it was a good scene. I mean, at least I thought they addressed it pretty well. Um, with Clark going in and having the little chat. But when you're adult, like he did mention, those are adult feelings. Like, maybe you should wait until you're an adult before.
I loved all the whole embarrassment about it that the kids had, like, oh. And then
Well,
the kids,
yeah, that's.
and he's like, oh, you're having this talk from your dad, but then you're having this talk from your dad who's really Superman. It's like, oh.
When did you do it? Well, I was a lot older than you. Although Lois didn't have the same thing to say about that.
But it was a bit weird about previously. Well, Cal's talking to Sarah, and he's like, "You're the alpha in the relationship," and it was like going on about that. You're a bit too good enough for her. For Jordan. Yeah, that was a bit weird.
Yeah. Well, I understood where he's right though, because Jordan
batting out of your league, yeah.
But Jordan's insecure, and he has been the whole relationship, and Kyle picked up on that, and I think Kyle's got a lot of common sense in a lot, these types of things, and he picked up on that. And it's true. It is what it is. So then we have the scenes with Natalie. So she's trying to adjust to living in a whole new world where people that she knows in her world are not the same people, but they look like the same people.
Yeah, they're two friends, Annika and Regan. They're just Blanca.
So was that that wasn't a Smallville High, though. That was some other.
No, they were in Metropolis at that point.
Yeah. So I can imagine that being very difficult. I mean, people that you had, serious feelings for, these deep relationships, and now they don't even know who you are, and that would be really hard. And then
especially at her age, yeah.
Yeah, especially at her age. And we had Lois very conflicted, and finally, when she had that makeup talk with Clark, coming to terms and coming out about how it was really the root was her relationship with her mom, which kind of they didn't have that in Smallville, right? Like that her mom just walked out on her in Smallville. Her
no, and it wasn't really implied in Supergirl either. So I think this has just come afresh in this version of Arrowverse. Yeah, that Lucy and Lois were abandoned by the mother.
I'm feeling there's probably more to the story.
It's not there in other versions of DC, because she died.
Yeah, I thought that the whole Natalie thing, why she was upset, was because of the miscarriage, but it actually was rooted in her feelings towards her own mother. Yeah, and that she felt like she was abandoning her, and she felt guilty that she didn't have feelings for her because in this reality, she's not her daughter. But that was really, nice that that she finally connected with her. And then they invited him to live in the farmhouse. So that's going to be interesting. I wonder if Natalie is going to end up liking one of the boys.
I hope not, because there's that sort of
siblings almost.
Clark and Tez,
Yeah, they are siblings, though, aren't they? I mean, wouldn't the DNA be the same from both Lois?
They are, yeah. So no,
yeah, so that can't happen. They wouldn't do that.
No.
I mean, although it is CW, but no, I don't think they'll do that.
No, definitely not.
They're actually siblings. They're half siblings.
Yeah. Have we got the bit to do with the mine and the safe?
Yeah, so let's see. We have one more here. Yeah, so we had the earthquake happen, and here's and the saving the water tower. by freezing the water and holding it back up. And then, yeah, the mine, those two guys over here, they ended up blowing through. I don't know, why were they in the mine in the first place? How did they even get there? Because they were on the inside. That was the first question I had about
Well, they
that.
were like punching through, weren't they, to try and.
But they were on the other side of the rock. Why were they there? I don't know what obviously they have strength. I don't know what other abilities they have besides that.
Yeah, but they work for Lieutenant Anderson.
And they are using his shield, which is really not
Oh
cool.
God, do you have the copyright on that? It's like, you know, just because they've got powers, it's like, oh, the S stands for hope, you know. Oh yeah, you can use it as long as.
Well, it's because they showed, in the beginning where they had all of the shirts and mugs and everything, and because Superman saved the day again. I mean, of course I would expect that if Superman saved the day, everyone would be almost, worshiping to some level, and so he wants to kind of take advantage of that, but that's not his. He definitely crossed the line, but I don't know what Clark
No,
can do
it's
about
more
that.
to like, you come and work for America,
Yeah.
not for anyone else,
Not cool.
No.
And then now that was stupid giving back the ELT though. Come on. Because he'd come and save the day if there was some issue coming in. Now you can't hit the button. That was just a symbolic, like, we're not, now does he know? I wasn't clear whether he knew his weakness or not. I don't know, because they did have that whole room, right? And who knew about that? Did this guy know about that? Did Sam, like, who knew about
7
yeah.
yeah.
7, what the hell, right?
Yeah. That project.
That project. I don't know, because I was wondering, because if he knows his weakness, that could be really dangerous. If they're, not, I mean, they're not enemies, but they're not having that close relationship.
He's just got the American agenda, not the agenda for the world.
Yeah.
Not for humans.
Well, I understand it coming from the lieutenant, and I understand it coming from Clark Superman, like.
Yeah.
And then, so this earthquake happens, and we get some nice scenes with Clark. I like the Superman scenes coming in. They always look nice and flashy, and they're enjoyable.
But he's so distressed by the noise, though, and the noise that was on the sub. So
really,
something's really, affecting his abilities.
What bothered me is, why didn't he tell Lois that this was happening? Why wasn't he curious to know why he's having these headaches?
It's like, oh, I'm having a migraine. Oh, I'm having a period pain. It's like, no, he's a superhero. It's like,
no, it's worse than that. I mean, he fell out of the sky and almost couldn't save the day.
Yeah.
And then he had it happen again. This was not something pretty major. This wasn't just like, oh, I have a little minor headache. I understand.
And at the mines, the other two people sort of like did his job for him, didn't he? Saving the truck off the cliff and everything else.
Yeah. Oh, did the other two people do
that? Well, nearly. He did it, but he was still confrontational about his, his headaches and stuff. He could have nearly missed. He could have nearly missed it.
Yes, exactly. So why is he not? And he's not telling Lois about what's going on with the government either, with the lieutenant. Where there seems to be, I don't know if they're just not showing us that, but there seems to be no curiosity from him at all about what's going on with him.
I would still, as your father-in-law, I would still go, to the General Lane and go, what's going on? And have a talk and a discussion with him. He might not be in the DEO or whatever, department it is these days, but he's still there. Where is he? Is he off sort of like fishing somewhere on a nice lake, miles away from anywhere?
Well, I'm pretty sure he's coming in another episode or two.
He is,
so
yeah.
that'll be interesting. But I just thought
Mm-hmm.
that at least he should have said something to someone, or we should have seen him having a little bit of curiosity about it. I was wondering if it had something to do with the multiple dimensions. Obviously, it looks like the earthquakes, which will bring back that picture again. Oops, sorry, wrong one. There's obviously a hand that reminds me of Doomsday. I not 100% sure it's Doomsday, but that's what it looks like to me. Like, and Doomsday was put underground, right? So is he coming back up?
We'll get there.
I don't know.
That's,
and no one's curious about why there's an earthquake in Kansas, because there shouldn't be any earthquakes in Kansas.
you have tornadoes and meteorites, meteor showers and whatever. But yeah,
that yes, but
definitely
Kansas is like
no earthquakes.
No fault over there. There's no fault that I know of anywhere near there. Yeah. So why would there be an earthquake? And it was probably just in Kansas. Again, where's the curiosity? I don't know. Seems odd to me that they're just like, oh, we had an earthquake and we're just going to move on. And I have these headaches and I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm just going to pretend like they're not happening. And so I don't know if his headaches are connected to what's going on with Doomsday or whatever's underground coming up, or if it's more connected to why Natalie is there and how she got something happening to the multiverse. Or if it was connected to what happened to last season when he got taken over by, or attempted to be taken over, and if it's residual effects from
right. Well,
his experience.
The episode is called "What Lies Beneath," so it's what lies beneath. Right. Have we got John and Natalie meeting up with Lois next?
That is my last slide. So John and Natalie, we have this one kind of have that scene right there in the middle. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So do you have any last thoughts before we do our ratings?
Yeah, so Natalie knows Lois isn't at home, and Lois knows Natalie isn't her daughter, but they still want to. But Lois still is keen on maintaining that relationship. So, I think that's a good thing, really.
Yes, although it's probably going to still be a little awkward.
Weird.
I mean,
yeah.
Barry in The Flash did manage to create a relationship with his doppelganger father, and mother, for that matter. So he got over it. So I think that they'll get through it. It'll be. I think it's going to be awkward at times,
And Kyle and Lana had a good connection in the kitchen. I think they were trying to do it in the kitchen, and Sara walked in, and it was like, "Oh, well, you got rooms down the hall." That was a bit funny.
They were getting it started. Doesn't mean they were gonna, right there in the kitchen. Well, they were in the moment.
Yeah, but there was a bit of a weird thing where Sara looks at a phone and there's a text from Jordan. I couldn't actually see what he said on the phone, but she just sort of like blanked him. She didn't reply to the text or anything. She just went and walked off.
She has no interest in him right now at all, and she needs to be honest about. I feel bad for Jordan. It was interesting because at the end of last season, we had Jordan and Sara in a relationship, and Jonathan just was, not in anything going on besides a little bit with that other girl. And now we start this season with Jonathan in the sheets with some girl.
Well, that leads us on to the next scene. It was when you know, Clark's got to have a talk with his boys about, you know, what were you doing? How old were you? And respect whoever you are, you know. There's the big sex talk there.
Yes. And then they'll have a talk with Lois later.
and then that's when we get the scene with John and Natalie turning up on the farm, and Lois saying, you know, they're going to stop here for a while. I'm going to see how Smallville
So
works
she'll
out
go to
here.
Smallville High, which makes sense. They need to have everyone kind of in the same place for the storytelling because they're going to be main characters now. So now we'll have 3 in Smallville High.
Yeah, I presume
Plus Sara.
are they going to be kind of like in
4.
different years? I don't know what age.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. I don't know if she's probably either younger or the same age. My guess is they'll probably do the same age, so that way they all graduate at the same time. I don't know if they're going to try to do a 90210, pretend we have 5 years in high school, but because of they are mentioning the age and that they were freshmen last year, I don't think so. I think they'll stick with the 4 years. It's going to get complicated once they graduate. That's always a tough transition for shows to do.
Yes. So when Natalie went off with the boys, we then see John with Clark, and it was like, "Are you all right with this?" Yeah, happy to help a friend.
Oh yes, because remember, John has feelings for Lois.
Yeah, and it's like, are you sure you're all right me being here? Because you know, my Earth, I'm married to your wife.
Right. Yeah. So so it'll be interesting them all living under the same roof. I mean, they know John and Natalie know everything about Clark, right? And Superman
and the boys know everything else, you know.
But do they know about Jordan's abilities too? Like, I don't know if Natalie knows everything because it could get complicated.
No.
Having
I think Jordan's abilities are still sort of like, you know, they're undercover. Yeah,
because that can make things a little bit complicated. I mean, having extra people under your roof under normal conditions can be complicated. When you have secrets and superpowers and off-Earth relationships,
yeah.
That's gonna make for some interesting drama.
Yeah, but sure. You know, I've got superpowers. What's the lamest thing I can do? It's like, light a bunch of candles to impress my girlfriend.
All right, so let's wrap it up and do our ratings. So why don't you start, Lisa? 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. And if you're watching us live, would you go ahead and you can give your ratings?
I wouldn't say it's the best for an opener show. I'd probably say a 4.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It wasn't great, especially for a season premiere. I don't know. It was certainly, I don't think, a favorite episode.
It asked more questions than what it delivered, and you know.
Well, yeah, but that's what they should be doing in the premiere. That way it gets you hooked in and want to watch it. I didn't really have any strong emotional feelings in this episode.
No. I'm just hoping.
So I'm almost tempted to do like a 3 or 3.5.
Yeah. Yeah, that was what I was probably going for as well.
I don't know. I just didn't feel like, all right, this is definitely a 4. Because usually the ones that I love are 4, and it has to be really over the top for a 5. So I feel like I'm going to have to go with a 3. It was good. Wasn't bad. Not great.
Well, the showrunner Todd has already implied that, you know, at the bottom of my mind it was Doomsday, and Doomsday's a big Superman foe who kills Superman. So it's like, are you trying to fit so much into the second series? You know, how's it gonna go? You know, are you
So it
gonna
is
cock it up
Doomsday, yeah.
because it's a CW show?
Confirmed.
Can you just, you know?
Well, how are
keep
they
it
going
going?
to do 9 episodes? Or I don't. How many episodes is this season? Do you know?
I don't think it's been decided yet. It's, you know, it all
16,
depends.
12.
It all depends on COVID, like in the last series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that makes it more difficult for the writers.
Well, they've got something in mind because Doomsday, in Superman's terms, equivalates to the death of Superman and then the resurrection of Superman. So it's kind of like throwing it in season 2 is a bit too early in the, you know, the storyline of what could happen. So maybe they've got some good ideas.
We'll see. All right, so I think that wraps us up for season 2, episode 1, been What Lies Beneath for Superman and Lois. So give us our comments, like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you.